1 Timothy 5:18. For the scripture says, "You shall not muzzle the ox that treads out the grain, and the labor is worthy of his reward." As we labor to build a reputation and be paid what we believe we're worth, we must remember the most important labor we can do is our service to God. No matter how much money we make or how many things we accumulate, it pales in comparison to the reward God gives us eternally for our service to Him. Jesus tells us in Matthew 6:19 through 21 to store up our treasures where moth and rust don't destroy. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome back to episode 3 here on Humble Beginnings. So as you can see, we've started a hoeing contract this morning. I did get the notification that came through, and our search was successful. And we are 47% off on this tractor. Let's look at what we'd be spending if we want the fenders in the front, all the monitors, we want the mirrors, we want the hazards. So right now, a total of $25,000 in comparison to, I think it was like $42,000. So we're actually going to go ahead and purchase this right outright. 26,000, 200 horsepower. Starting out, we have the ability to, I think, upgrade another 35 horse if we absolutely have to later on. Maybe it makes sense just to go ahead and do that right away. We have the funds. Let's go ahead and let's purchase it. So that's our first big purchase. And I think we saved ourselves nearly $20,000 on that purchase. So $29,000. We can only get a $1,300 left, but now we have a tractor that we can actually utilize, so we don't get stuck using those tractors with certain equipment that's not adequate. And it's a start to us finally establishing ourselves. The word's been getting out. A lot of the farmers are hearing that we've been doing really good work, and our increase on our contracts is going up. So we're going to start getting paid more for the work that we do. So that's exciting. It's going to help us really start to grow and advance and start to establish ourselves here in North Dakota as taking the first steps and becoming the biggest suppliers here of product in North Dakota. Let's go ahead and get this contract all finished up. That is our first contract all finished up. We're going to go ahead and head back to the shop. We're going to grab our tractor. I'm going to look at what contracts are remaining. We're going to make an adjustment, not really an adjustment, but maybe an addition to the rule of the contract situation. So we had one rule, one contract at a time. And then we added to that by saying that we could take multiple contracts as long as it was for the same farmer, because we were using the farmer's equipment. Now, we cannot take any loans for the first year, and we're not going to change that rule. Leasing is, in my opinion, kind of like taking out a loan if you're keeping the equipment. Now that we have our own tractor, what we're going to allow ourselves to do is lease a piece of equipment to do a contract. If that's cheaper than leasing the farmer's equipment. I'm not really sure if it is. I haven't looked into it yet. So I'm going to find out live and on the fly. But what we're going to add into that is if we lease it, because like let's say we lease a weeder to do a weeding contract, we can take multiple weeding contracts, but when we're all done with the weeding contract, the implement has to be returned. We can't keep it for the whole day. If there's no other weeding contracts, we must return the piece of equipment. If more come up and we decide to do those, we must release the piece of equipment. So it could be cost effective to do multiple. It might not be more cost effective. Maybe it's more cost effective to just lease one and lease the equipment from the farmer. We're going to have to pay attention to that to find out what is the most economical and the most beneficial for us. But we're going to allow ourselves to be able to do that. So if we have multiple planting contracts, we can use the same planter for multiple contracts and multiple farmers, as long as we're still planting. So that's going to be a rule that we're going to allow ourselves to do. That way we can implement our own tractor and start utilizing our own tractor as well, rather than just utilizing the farmer's equipment. Plus it gives us an opportunity to make a little bit more money, potentially, and save ourselves some of the leasing cost. So we're going to drop this back off at the shop, and I'm going to catch up with you guys here in just a minute once I see what's going on in the shop and what I got for more contracts. Well, we took another weeding contract, and as you can see, I don't have our tractor. And the reason why that was is because it was $1,300 and some to lease this piece of equipment. There is 2 hoeing contracts, which we could have picked up both. Total leasing costs would have been around $2,700. In order for us to lease that exact same weeder would have been $1,836. But we have a per hour, where's a per hour day? Per work hour, $756. So we had to add that on top of that, because when we looked at the contract, it was telling us this one alone would take about an hour in game. And then you would have the other one that was planning to take about a half an hour. So overall, our costs would have incurred more, I think, than to just lease the one that we had. So I went ahead. I'm just going to use this for now. We're going to build up a little bit of capital, because I got my eyes set on some fields that I'm looking at purchasing, and I want to make sure that we have enough to roll it, to be able to buy fields at the end of the harvest season. Harvest season is starting in June next month. We checked it out. So we can, there's harvest for barley starting in June. Spinach, I don't know if we'll be doing any spinach harvest. Let's check and see if there's any barley on the map. See if anybody's got any barley planted. Well, as of right now, I don't see any barley harvest available. We never know. I want to move into some harvesting contracts. I want to move to the month of May, the month of June, and get us into the month of July to start the next episode. So my plan right now is I'm going to, off camera, do a bunch of contracts here. But I want to move to the month of June, move to the month of May, move to the month of June, and start getting us into some of the harvesting contracts to start getting us moving a little bit forward. So if you're not seeing as much of the full time lapses and the full contract work, that's the reason why. It's because I want to get us kind of moving forward in time to get us started actually advancing and progressing a little bit. So we're going to start getting after it. We're going to start getting these contracts knocked out and start building our bank account. Just about done with this one, and it's contract complete. We got stuck in a bit of a rain delay, so we are at 11:30. It rained for, I was up for about 2 hours, which that's unfortunately part of farming. That's the life that we live here in the farming community. We're gonna get this finished up, and then I'm gonna show you guys what I've been looking at and what my thought is. Let's go ahead, fold this up. We're just gonna collect this contract. Let's go ahead and collect complete. Collect. Let's look and see what else is left. We're not even gonna go back and forth. We're trying to move along. Weeding contract. I like this one. 25,000. It's a bigger field. Says roughly 2 hours. That's okay. Let's do it. Would for sure be able to buy all 3, if not more than that. And then turn them into a hay field, plant them in the fall, harvest them in the spring right away, and then we could turn around and flip some of them if we had to. So that's kind of what I've been thinking about. I know it's not a lot of acreage, and maybe it doesn't pay out. Maybe it takes too long to collect our money back. Not trying to just buy land for the sake of buying land, but we got to get started somewhere. And the idea is we can get our grass fields going. We might not be able to collect on them right away, but it's something we can actually get going and collect a harvest on right away in the spring for next year, instead of having to wait to buy our lands in the spring. So we're going to keep an eye on what's available and what's not planted, what's been harvested, and when we can actually buy them, if it is feasible for us to get a growth state before spring, so that way we can turn around and harvest them right away come the springtime. Just want to jump in here, share with you guys. We're going to go ahead and get to the next field, and we're going to get this contract all finished up. So see you guys here shortly. Well, we've been grinding away. As you can see, it's about 9 o'clock in the evening time. We've accomplished quite a few different contracts. A lot of them have been fertilizing contracts, a couple weeding contracts, but we've done pretty good. I've noticed, we're going to finish up this contract real quick. As you can see, we're using our own tractor for the first time. It was honestly by mistake, but actually turned out really well, because we're going to make a purchase. While I was doing one of the fertilizing contracts, I noticed a field next to us that was not planted. So we're going to go ahead and make a purchase on a field. I went ahead and did some looking around in field 34, 3 acres, $36,000. Can definitely field that. Expected yield 123%. So we're going to purchase this land right now, and then we're going to go ahead and purchase soil information. Yes. And we're going to go ahead, I leased this spreader, so I figure while we're here close to our field, we'll go ahead and put the rest of this fertilizer down. Automatic application rate, turn back on and turn that off. Finally figured that out too. So I'll say just a little bit of fertilizer, although we've, I would say, used more fertilizer per contract, even with changing the width and deactivating the automatic application rate, turning it down to as low as it can go, than what the contracts have called for. I wouldn't say it's a ton, but definitely more than what they've called for. But either way, we've done really well this month. We're going to go ahead and drop fertilizer on our field, and then from there we're just going to go ahead and move right into, actually let's do this first. Before we do that, we're going to go into the shop. So we know we're going to need a seeder, and we know we're going to need a fertilizer spreader. We want to buy permanently. We're going to start out with this one. Working lights, warning triangle cover, and we're gonna try and find it used. We know it's only 19,000. We're gonna start with this case heater. Now I know those aren't very expensive, and we might have just wasted some money. At the same time, if we can find it used at 50% off, we still saved ourselves all that money even on just one implement. So let's go ahead and get our field fertilized, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into June. Well, we've moved into June. We picked up a spraying contract. There is a spinach harvesting contract that I think we might take just to get some harvesting done. We tithed our money. Overall, our income for May was about $104,000. We also had to pay our rent at $300, and we paid a storage fee at the shop of $200 for our tractor to stay there overnight. So we have tithed about, I think it was around $10,900, which is good. The Lord blessed us with some good work for the month of May. Our focus for the month of June is going to be doing a few contracts because we still got to make some money. We still need to pick up a seeder. We need to pick up our fertilizer spreader to put lime down, and moving into July and August, we'll have to pick up our hay bine. We still need to get a tedder, a rake, and a baler. So I think we're going to focus on really trying to get a baler, and we're going to make hay because we can, as the harvesting season comes around, we can start picking up some of those baling contracts, which I think are a good way to make some pretty decent money, which I absolutely love that about Farm Sim 25, is that we have the ability to do baling contracts, which just baling, and it's not having to do all the mowing and stuff. So I love that addition to the game. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this contract all finished up, and then we're gonna look into seeing if the shop has found us any of the equipment that we look for. But let's get it done. That contract's all finished up. Let's head back to the shop, unload this herbicide, and see what else is next. I picked up another spraying contract. We are using our own tractor, which is perfectly fine. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it'll get the job done. I wasn't intending to use it. I meant to borrow the equipment from the farmer, but just hit accept contract, so here we are having to lease a sprayer. I think my plan is that I'm going to pretty much just lease the equipment from the farmer until we own our own stuff, just because I think overall it is a little bit cheaper than leasing from the store and then having to return it. But if you make a mistake, you're going to have to live with it. That's what I did, so that's where we're at. We're going to get this weeding contract finished up, and then we're going to jump into the shop because they have found us some of the equipment we're looking for. So I'm going to catch you guys once this field is all finished up, and then we're going to go ahead and look and see what the shop has for us. well, this is what they found us. What is it, 11,000? I think new it was almost 15. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll buy this. I know we don't need it right now. And we might be able to find it cheaper later, but we have it. Fertilizer spreader. I'm not sure how wide this thing actually spreads, but holds 3,200 liters, can do fertilizer, and can do lime, so that's going to work out good for us to get started. 11,000. I think that saves us almost $9,000, $8,000. We're going to go ahead and purchase that right away too. And the nice part is we have our own tractor, so we can actually go ahead and utilize a worker. So we're going to go ahead and accept some contracts. We're going to take both of these. And we're going to have a worker do those. And we're going to go ahead and start doing a harvesting contract. We'll borrow the items there. We need to purchase, we'll have to purchase some. We're about 92% full. We just started our worker on the other field. So we got one complete. We're just about full on the first harvester here. We're going to head over to the shop, grab the truck, come over here and unload this one. I'm always looking into the future and planning for the future, trying to figure out what we should be doing next. So we'd love your guys' input on which farm you think we should buy. Should we go for the bigger one right away and not have to purchase more sheds, not have to purchase a bigger grain silo, not have to purchase more storage and just kind of have it all ready to go, make the bigger investment up front? Or should we go with the smaller one and then expand from the smaller one? So we'd love for your guys' input and your opinions on what you think we should do, what the best route to be would be. I'm going to head over to the field here. We're going to get this unloaded, complete. I'll show you guys some of the progress as we go. Okay, so our guys got both those fertilizing contracts completed. We're still working on that spinach contract. I've got the second harvester full. I've actually been doing most of it in cab, and it's actually been quite relaxing. I've actually quite enjoyed that. It's not super fast, obviously not super wide, but for some reason it's just been relaxing doing it in cab. And so yeah, I've been enjoying that. We're going to go ahead and start parking some of our equipment down here. I moved our mower down here already, getting some of that stuff done. I think we'll do, I said I was going to lease the stuff from the farmers, but I think if we can lease it from the shop, we can at least have a worker help us out. And really most of the contracts that we have available at this time are just spinach contracts. We go into the contracts here. Yeah, all the harvesting is just spinach, and those take some time. So I want to have a worker continue to start making us some money as we work on some of those spinach contracts. So I'm going to keep these guys going. I'm going to get him over to his first field. I'm going to jump back in here once we start focusing on our field. I'm going to finish up this first spinach contract, maybe start another one, and then once the second one's done, we're going to focus on getting our field done. Well, we've got ourselves caught in a little bit of a rain delay. It's supposed to rain until 1600. So we're going to go ahead and unload this at the silo. So let's get to the silo and I'll show you guys what I'm thinking. Alright, we have this trailer used. We can get it for 33,000 liters. It's not in the best of shape. As a matter of fact, it's in pretty rough shape. But we'll save about $11,000. It's $37,000 brand new. We have $45,000. We need to also get our seeder because we want to plant our grass this month. So that's $6,000. So we're looking at 32. We'd have enough. Plus we have to worry about our tithe, our seed, and our lime that we're going to have to get. We do have a couple contracts that we're going to be able to finish up. Why is this guy not unloading? Did it go up too far? Harvesting will happen to run cart back and forth the entire time. So let's go ahead. We're going to do that. Let's go ahead. Let's purchase that trailer. I know it's not in the best shape, but it's going to get us started, right? It's a start. This isn't a finish, it's a start. Alright, let's purchase that. And then we have enough to buy our seeder, so let's go ahead and buy our seeder right away. It hasn't come in used. That's okay. This is the one we want. One is 4 meters, one's foot. Yeah, we want 5.2. Let's go ahead and buy that. Okay. So we finished both of our spraying contracts. We picked up 2 weeding contracts, and we did pick up another spinach contract, which I'm really hoping we didn't bite off more we can chew there. It was for the same farmer, so it had to lease different equipment. I can use the same equipment that I already have. So that was my thought behind it. But now that we're held up nearly 3 hours, I don't know if we're going to be able to make it all happen. We are almost done with this contract, but the next one that we have is considerably bigger than the one that we just did. Let's go ahead and jump in there. Yeah, so field 12, I mean, if we look at that on the map, this is the one we're doing now. This is 6 acres. Field 12 is just over double the size. So we're going to give it the best shot we got, and we're going to get as much done with it if we can. I really wanted to focus on getting our grass field planted, but obviously we could have our worker planted. I was hoping to plant it myself, but if we're not able to, we'll have to just plant it right away first thing come July. This running back and forth to the shop, I've been there every load we have to run back to the shop, and it's doing it on our own, so maybe it might be beneficial for us to actually have our own tractor, once he's done with those weeding contracts, just start running grain cart for us. But some things to think about, things for us to rack our brain about. I really want to be able to get it all done. You know, we just started earning a good reputation, getting our name out there for doing a good job, finishing our contracts all the way through. I know we can't control the weather, but we also want to be able to keep our reputation going, keep a good name going. So I'm going to do some thinking while this rain is going, and I will catch up with you guys in a little bit. We managed to get the contract all finished up. It's 11:30 at night. We used speed override to get it done, but I felt it important to get the contract all finished up instead of leaving it partially finished, or to take a penalty for not getting it complete. We're going to head back to the shop. We're going to look at what we made, do our tithing, and move into July. I think July we've got a few more crops that we'll be able to harvest. I think canola, we got wheat, peas are able to harvest hopefully a little bit better than doing all those spinach contracts. Let's shut this off here. Yeah, let's look at yeah, so we got barley, which we didn't have any barley. There's no barley planted, I didn't see. Canola starts next month. Oats starts next month. Peas, spinach, we won't be doing any more spinach contracts, and then wheat. So we should have a good amount of contracts available for next month in the harvest season. Let's look at our finances. $78,868. So we'll go ahead and tithe off that for a total of $8,200. That will include our rent for the month. We're going to move the tractor trailer over to our field, and then that way we don't have to pay for the $200 storage fee. All right, $8,200 tithe. We paid our rent for the month, so we are good to go. We're going to go ahead and go drop this off at the field, come back, and we're going to go ahead and get ready to move into July. So as we bring this episode to a close, I just wanted to remind you that God loves you and is calling you back to his fold. If we will humble ourselves and repent and confess him as our Lord, he is faithful and just to forgive us and will redeem us back to himself. This is Faithful Farmer thanking you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.